Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. We are back with the Director's Spotlight. Once again, we are discussing a Wes Anderson film. This week, we have 2012's Moonrise Kingdom. This was released on June 29th, 2012. It was written by Wes Anderson and Roman Coppola and directed by Wes Anderson. I am Colton Robertson, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you, especially for today. For me, this was, I know it's like right smack dab in the middle here, and I hate to break it to you this way. I love all the rest of the movies. There is no higher peak for me than where we're at right now. I love this movie.
Not a disappointment to hear, because I'm feeling the same exact way. At least as far as all the movies I've watched, this is peak, and I'm pretty confident in that. And that's okay if this is the peak. Because it was that good. I really enjoyed it as well. So I'm fully in for Moonrise Kingdom.
We got some stuff that I like. Depending on the person you ask, I can see a bunch of other options. You know, Fantastic Mr. Fox is a popular one. The Grand Budapest Hotel is going to be a popular one. Those are typically the three, though. Grand Budapest. Wow. Moonrise Kingdom and Fantastic Mr. Fox. But for me, Moonrise Kingdom tops that list.
Man, yeah, all in a row. You know, this is a good run of. It's just, yeah. I mean, as far as my viewings, it's only gotten better and better and better as time has gone on. And yeah, this was. I mean, I looked at the cast, I guess, and I'm like, okay. Stacked from the top to the bottom. I'm like, I don't know what to expect, but all right. I'm obviously something with these adults, right? You know, because they're all casted. And then, you know, but I saw Sam and Susie up at the top of IMDb, you know, and I'm like, okay, interesting. I didn't really pay much attention to it at the time.
Right.
And then I'm watching the movie and I'm like, man, we're really focusing on these kids here. You know, like we're with them for a long time. And then I'm like, oh, I get it now. I'm like, this is what this movie is, you know. It's like, and then whenever you just texted, you know, I mean, it didn't. The Romeo and Juliet, you texted me like it's, you know, just they were about to Romeo and Juliet, but then I'm like, oh, this is just, it's just a classic little Romeo and Juliet story.
Yeah, little star-crossed lovers, you know. They come from different backgrounds. They're not forbidden necessarily, you know, but they're forbidden in the sense that they're 12, you know. Their parents are like, yo, you know, you can't just go running off like that. You can't go anywhere you want. You're not adults. And I think that's what that's the strength of this movie is like, because this is ultimately about love. There's a bunch of different angles from which that's the case, primarily around Sam and Susie, but you know, with Bill Murray and Frances McDormand, Bruce Willis and Frances McDormand, Ed Norton and his kind of his scout troop, you know. It's not romantic love, but it's love, you know.
You don't do that out of your own free will, you know. No. You got to really love that.
You got to be passionate.
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to think that or draw away from like the kids as like it was a bad thing. It was much of a delight for the movie, actually. You know,
it makes
it like
it better. It does.
A breath of fresh air. You know, I don't know. It was like, I don't know who these kids are, and like, I don't know, I've never really seen them in anything before, and that just made it even easier to just kind of go on this adventure with them, you know. And it was just such a fun ride, and not what I expected whatsoever, but definitely, it is my favorite movie so far of the project, so it did something right. And I was blown away by the end of it. I don't know. I said I was pissed, but in a good way. And I didn't know how to feel at the end of this movie. I was like, man, I'm like, because my heart, I was on a roller coaster, I guess, the whole time. And when it ended, I was just like, wow, like what a movie that was. I have to process this. I'm still kind of processing it.
No, 100%. Well, what was crazy is that like, for me, this was I'm in the last 16 hours, I watched this movie, I think 3 times. So, but the first of those was my second watch. So second, third, and fourth viewing of this movie. I watched it one time last night, and I was like, I drank like a little bit of coffee before I watched so that I could make it through it. And I wasn't even close to tired once it was over. So I turned on the director's audio commentary and watched it back again. And then I have this habit where if we're going to discuss something in the afternoon while I'm at work, I feel wrong watching other things before we discuss it. So I just go ahead and watch it, So like, so I knocked out 3 viewings. But
does that then
after my second one, what's that?
Does that then tie your most viewed movie of the year with Fantastic Mr. Fox now, both at 4? That's awesome.
Yeah, very quickly tied it in the course of the last 24 hours. But to speak to your experience, the elation you were feeling, the sort of like, oh God, what's going to happen? I'd forgotten that that's what the first viewing feels like. Like I knew exactly how this movie was going to go. I knew exactly how it resolved. So everything was kind of, the way you get to view a Wes Anderson movie on a second time is different. Like I'm not on the edge like, oh God, are they going to jump? I get to appreciate the dialogue that they have right before Bruce Willis saves them. And it's just it's just like, oh yeah. And it becomes a comfort movie through more watches instead of that sort of like on the edge, your heart's beating, you're like, oh God, what's going to happen? Are these kids going to fucking die?
I see that now. Yeah. On second watch, it does become a comfort movie. Definitely. First watch though, it was comfortable whenever it was just Sam and Susie. Like like whenever it was just them, it was amazing. But just the ending, whenever like, the narrator kind of building up the storm the whole time, and I'm like, what's going to happen? I'm like, so is the storm going to take him out? Like, are they going to cause the whole town to die somehow? I'm like, what happens at this storm? And I'm like, they keep building that up. And then, bam, I think the first time my heart dropped was when Sam just got struck by lightning up, just when he took his stand.
On this spot, I fight no more forever.
Yeah, and like
come
now,
and get me.
Now looking back on it, it's going to be hilarious to watch that from now on. But when I was first watching it, I'm like, oh my fucking God, he's dead. I'm like, holy shit, he just died. And then like very quickly, like, oh, okay.
Oh, and that's kind of a benefit of having watched the Royal Tenenbaums and the 𝙈𝙊𝙊𝙉𝙂 and all these other movies where, in the 𝙈𝙊𝙊𝙉𝙁, a kid literally dies. I know he's not the main character, but a kid does die.
Yeah.
One of the main characters in the Royal Tenenbaums slits his fucking wrists. There's all sorts of stuff throughout these movies that would lead you to go, oh no, this kid might actually be fucking dead right now. Yeah. And that is somewhere you think Wes Anderson might take it.
And I mean, it was only elevated like by 10,000 when they got to the church chapel. I don't like climbing up it looked like it was kind of like a church. I don't know.
It was a church. It was a church.
Yeah, okay. I was never seen a church with like the pews or like individual like rooms like that before.
Yeah, right. It was weird.
But anyway, whenever they were starting to like climb up to the top of that and it was really storming, I'm like, okay, maybe they're just trying to escape. Maybe they have some escape plan. Like why were they watching from the top? And then I'm like piecing it together and I'm like, no. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, no, it's not going that way. I'm like, no chance. My heart is like beating out of my chest and I'm like, no. And then he says they just start talking to each other and like he literally says it, like, well, if this is a suicide or, if we don't really make it out of this or whatever, just want to let you know. That I love you and that I really appreciate. And I was like, no, and it's.
Dude,
I mean, I was
this movie, man. The tension rising there and the relationship that's formed between Sam and Susie. It's so sweet, because like the reason I love this movie so much is because it transports me back to that age. It makes me feel like, I'm like, oh my God, I remember what it was like to think I was in love at 13 or whatever the fuck, be like, oh my God, my life is different. Nothing else matters. This is what everything is from now on, and that's what's awesome about like, puppy love, this childlike love is where like there is nothing bigger in the world to them than this. And that was always my argument whenever I was younger and like even now I will still contend, the adults will always go, you're just a kid, you don't know what love is. What they're experiencing is to them what love is. It might not be what your definition of love is, but there's something in their brain that they've unlocked for the first time that's making them go, oh, wait a minute. This is the shit. This is what I want from now on.
I think the only reason that we say that it's not real love or that, it's just kid love, it's because they don't actually know what comes next in life. They do still experience the same feelings of love, and I don't doubt that, but it's just, I guess
the same trials you might.
They're not thinking like, oh, I need to eventually buy a house with this person. I'm eventually, going to have like maybe children with this person. Like they're not really thinking of those things. They're just like, it's like just the wow, that's a weird
primordial
word. Mordial, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just raw, just, no thoughts. Just, I don't know. Just they met each other in a dressing room, just like, hey, what kind of bird are you? No, I asked, what kind of bird are you? And like, you just knew from the first moment. They're like, they're perfect for each other.
The romantic in me can't get enough of this. The way that Sam is like, whenever he sits down with Bruce Willis's character, Captain Shaw, I think, in his home, and he's like, from the first time we saw each other, something changed, and it was just nothing was going to be the same again. And he's like, hey man, I appreciate that. I can't knock anything you're saying for real. I'm just saying you're 12 and we'll figure shit out, but you got to think about things more. And, dude, I just adored this movie, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. That whole last sequence where they are climbing to the top of the chapel and they're considering just how deep the flooding is. They're like, well, we don't know how deep that water is. And she's like, doesn't really matter. If we break our necks, we die anyway. So,
yep.
And he's like,
Susie, very, very matter of fact. She's, she tells you how it is. They both kind of are like that, I guess.
They weren't gonna do it. There comes they cut away and then they cut back and she goes, okay, we'll count to 3 again.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Was that actually in there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. Maybe I was just too in a rush. I didn't quite catch that.
No, 100%. Because I didn't notice this until the most recent watches. Is that like she goes, okay, let's count to 3 again, because they already did and they didn't do it, and they were like, all right, let's do it. Let's count again.
And then it really was the storm, I guess, that did it. Like they wouldn't have actually done if the thing just wouldn't have blown over. They wouldn't have had to, be saved by the rope. And then I don't know what a miraculous catch that was. I don't know how it happened. I don't care. I just know that it did happen, and I need it to happen. And now on second watch, I'm going to be so grateful for that. And it's going to look like a hero moment instead, like more of like I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be more of just a nice.
Well, and that's what's so cool is that like in these watches, obviously Sam and Susie are the unquestionable highlight of this film. But getting to explore the adults a bit more on rewatches, pay attention to what their stories mean. That moment for Bruce Willis's character, Captain Shaw, is exactly everything he needed. He's have you ever been in love? He's like, yeah. What happened there? She didn't love me back. He breaks up with his fling, who he's in love with, but isn't in love with him. She's got a family. She's got plans. She's got everything going on. And for him to choose to adopt this child and save them, be willing to save them and die in the process, Like, you're like, man, this guy's gone on a fucking journey.
Yeah. Like, man, wow, that is crazy looking back at his story now. Like, it was just such a side story that it really takes me just thinking about it to be like, oh man, yeah, he did go on quite the journey there.
The layers in this movie, like primary characters, Susie and Sam. Secondary characters, Counselor Ward and Captain Shaw, Ed Norton and Bruce Willis. Tertiary characters, Bill Murray and Frances McDormand. Like, you go further and further and further down the list, and they all have stories. They're just not as prominent as the one that's ahead of them on the call sheet. And then even beyond that, I'd argue the bottom of the call sheet as far as the top tier of this cast, Tilda Swinton and Jason Schwartzman in these tiny roles that just pop up and do something randomly and then dip,
Man, yeah, I don't know, this cast was amazing, like, just incredible. Like, whenever someone new popped up, I was just like, oh my god, like, okay, now like, I don't really care, not in a bad way, but like, I really want to know what's going on with Sam and Susie right now. But like, what a nice little treat to get on top, and
get on the phone, and Tilda Swinton's calling. She's social services, This is actually the first collaboration between Wes Anderson and Tilda Swinton, and she goes on to be a regular in his movies. She's in a few more after this.
But I mean, when Bill Murray and Frances McDormand were like, the shot of like them laying in their beds, and like that conversation, was like,
we're
whoa.
all they've got.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
I was like, whoa, like that got real out of nowhere. Like, okay, and like
I hope the roof flies off and I get flung into outer space. You'd be better off without me.
Like, Bill Murray having to deliver that, and then Frances McDormand having to talk to like Susie in the bathtub, and like having like just to hear like, no, I hate you. Yeah, I do want to hurt you. Exactly right. And she like taking all that in and like have like that like, I don't know. It was just incredible that all of these huge actors were supporting two children, like, and that is like, I don't care. Like, I know that they're huge actors, but like, I know that they're just supporting the story that I care about, which is
and that's what's
like,
to do that with this story. It speaks volumes about Jared Gilman and
Kara Hayward
and Jared Gilman. They were fucking phenomenal in this movie. To be able to lead this film is astonishing with a cast like that around you. And
dang,
and they knocked that shit out of the park, like to speak more to the Frances McDormand scene where she's speaking to Susie in that in the bathtub there, where she's like, and another key factor that I don't think I realized the first time, not consciously, is that this movie's set in 1965.
Oh, the narrator did say that, didn't he?
Yeah.
He said the year is blah blah blah. Okay.
Yeah, so this is set forever ago. Like, whenever she's like, we women, we're just more emotional, and she goes, I hate you. Like, it's just this aged mindset. But there's also the fact that in that conversation, whenever she's like, I've been where you are, asking yourself, why am I doing this? Why do I make mistakes like this? Why am I still doing it? And for that conversation to evolve to the point where she goes, I know what you're doing with that sad, dumb policeman. And she goes, I don't think I should have to keep speaking on that after I've already been talking about it. You're led in a direction where you think she's talking about her marriage. Why am I still in this? Why am I still doing this? What kind of mistake have I made? But then they flip it on its head when she says that, and it's actually about the affair she's been having with Bruce Willis. She doesn't know how to, very clearly is abusive. She hits her husband and is emotionally abusive to her husband and stuff. And even she knows she's wrong. She knows she's a bad person. And she's like, why am I doing this? Why am I like this? And she can tell that she is the largest influence on her violent daughter, who stabbed a kid in the back and gets in fights at school and stuff. She's like, poor Susie. Why is everything so difficult for you? This little hypocrite.
Yeah, you're peeling the layers back right now for me. Like, I'm not realizing all these layers on the first watch, but holy crap, does it?
Yeah, man.
Wow. Dang.
No, and that's like that. Obviously, like I said, I've watched this 3 times in the last 16 hours. I've had nothing but this on my brain.
That's not a bad thing.
No, not by any means. This is a phenomenal movie, and there are a ton of layers. And it for what does appear to be a very surface level kinsman child love story, where they're like, you know what, let's run off together, let's go hide in the woods, and we'll run away from our parents, and everything will be okay. You know, like. But everyone's got something, and it's incredibly compelling.
And yeah, I just love how, like, I guess there weren't many animals in this. There was a turtle that he caught, but this was really just more of like a nature, connected with nature movie.
There's a dead dog, Snoopy.
That's true, man. Yeah, the animals in this don't really get the best treatment, I guess. But, like, it's very, I don't know. I wanted just to go outside. And I'm like, I want to go wherever they are and just find a nice spot. I'm probably not going to camp. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how to survive like that. I wish I could. I think that is, like, really impressive. Like, just to be able to go out and, like, know how to survive. Like, to build a fire, to just cook food, like, the little rope pulley system he made to get his luggage across, and like, I don't know, just all those little things. I'm like, oh man, like, I always gave like
you're
Boy
really
Scouts.
Good at all this camping stuff, aren't you? It's like I'm a scout. It's what I do. You know, it's what I've trained for.
And I mean, he is a badass though. I mean, damn,
𝗔𝙗𝗍𝗄𝙗 is the shit, bro.
I was trying to debate my favorite scene, and the one I was going back to every time is whenever all the the kids are like, well, you're either going to come peacefully or not. And then he's like, all right, I know what I got to do. Yeah.
And he like looks down real quick and he's like, stick. He has to see what's at his feet. He's like, stick. Yeah. It's so funny.
And just, we cut back to just all the kids running away in fear of whatever Sam just did. I mean, I guess it was
Sam.
They probably saw Susie just stab the main bully boy, and then they were like, "Okay, now we're there. Now we're out here."
He dodged a tomahawk and shot a kid in both arms. Apparently,
that's the thing, though. Yeah, the other kids had some serious weapons on them, so like Sam had to do something as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't think just a stab with scissors was what made those kids run away. I think they saw both of them just go absolute berserk, and they were like, "Yeah, okay."
Ran away.
Not our fight.
No, that's a fantastic scene. Yeah. That's a great scene. And the way it like cuts back to them, and Susie's like, my mom did always say that I might overreact a little bit, and she's got like bloody scissors in her hand, and you're like, oh shit, what did she just do?
Yeah, and like at first I'm like a little confused. It's don't cross this stick, and then it just cuts to the kids running. And
and there's like a couple smash cuts in between. There's like a shot of scissors, an arrow flying through the air, and then it's like white. Then it cuts to the kids running through the woods, and you're like, oh shit.
And I'm like, did that just happen? I'm like, what just happened here? I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, they're definitely running away from Sam and Sue. Like, that's what clicked first. And then I'm like, wait a minute. What did they do to those kids? Like, that didn't click at first. I'm like, they had to do something that bad. But no, I think that's my favorite scene. I don't know. That was the only thing I kind of left open because I just wanted to talk through the movie, and maybe I'll remember more scenes that I didn't.
I mean, there's
stuff, but
this movie's a gold mine of fantastic scenes. We discussed the Bill Murray, Frances McDormand one where they're laying in bed and they have that discussion, and the way it's shot initially, where it shoots one side of Frances McDormand's face and then another side of Bill Murray's face, and it kind of implies that they're in one bed and they're just they're catching both of them on each side, and then to go to that pan out and they're in separate beds and they're looking up at the ceiling and you're just like, damn, oh man, this is, and the way that scene progresses, and she's like, I'm sorry for that, and he's like, which injuries are you referring to? The ones that still hurt. Most of those are self-inflicted. And you're like, God Damn,
Yeah, I
man.
was like, wow, this is getting heavy quick. I was like, yeah, that's the beauty of, like, Bill Murray and Frances McDormand didn't really have to focus on a whole lot for the movie. They like had their scenes and they just did them so well. And I don't know, I think it made the movie just so much better. It gave it, like, I don't even think it needed, like, credence of, like, you know, big name actors. Like, it didn't even really need that. I could have just probably had 2 hours of Sam and Susie and been fine. But just to cut, like, back and forth between just really, really good actors doing a really, really good job was just, I don't know, a nice, like, reset almost every now and then.
Right. And that's what's so compelling about all the different stories, is that it is a really, really tightly wound narrative that intersects a lot of smaller stories, you know, and it's the way that Randy Ward and Captain Shaw's story kind of intersects with the lost scout. And he's like, all right, well, I'll help you look for him. He's like, oh, well, the woman I'm banging, her daughter went missing with him, and they end up having to collaborate on trying to find the kid and stuff. And another one of my favorite scenes actually does have Randy Ward, and it's after they'd been caught on the shore of what became known as Moonrise Kingdom. And they're underneath the boat, or they're somewhere. I think they're in a boat and they're below deck or something, because it looks really enclosed. I haven't really thought about where they might be. But Sam's sitting on one side and Ed Norton's sitting on the other side. And he just kind of talks to him for a second. And he's like, I wish we could have done an inspection back there. You know, that was one of the most impressive campsites I've ever seen in my life. And he's like, thank you.
Yep.
And it was, and like, because the way that scene kicks off is him being like, I'm so sorry I didn't know about your parents. That wasn't in your report. How'd they die? I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be asking that. And it was, and that's a more important moment for Camp Counselor Ward in that moment, to be like, because at the beginning we kick the movie off with him being like, all right, let's check this, let's check that, let's check that. He's a stickler. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. He doesn't seem like a hard ass or anything, but he's about his business.
Too good. He's like too perfect, you know, that he's annoying almost, but like not in a bad way. He wants to create the best scouts he possibly can, and in that he lost sight of the kids that they are. You know, he didn't get to know Sam, and he feels guilty about that throughout the movie. When he learns that he's an orphan, he's like, oh my god, like no wonder he's the way that he is. You know, the
like
call with the social service, like that like how it shocked. Both, is it Shaw? Sharp? Is it Shaw?
Oh wait, I think you are right. I think it's Sharp. I think I've been calling him Shaw, but I think it's Sharp. Yeah, Sharp. It's Sharp.
Sharp. Okay, Sharp. Sharp and now Ward. Yeah, Sharp and Ward on the phone. They're like, shock therapy. You know, like they were both like, no, like this kid is not going to, like that's not going to happen. And it leads one of them to eventually adopt, you know, the kid and take him in, and then it leads the other to actually, like, it kind of destroys him, you know, and he's like, even in his little report that he makes at night, you know, he can't say anything. He's like, I don't even know what to say. He's
September 4th.
Yeah, like, what do I say? Like, he just feels so, you know, he's so by the book. And it's all about safety and keeping the kids safe, but then one just got away and wanted to leave and not even be a part of the group, and that destroyed him at first. And then hearing that he is an orphan was like another dagger. And then like shock therapy or juvie, you know, is like, okay, this is just all going downhill.
Well, and the idea of that shock therapy gives the rest of the movie the stakes that you can understand. You know, that's what Sam and Susie are running away from. You know, not only do they want to be together, and they can't be if they're back home with the adults, but once social services gets there, Sam's gone forever. out of Susie's life.
Yeah.
That's never an option again.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he out of Susie's life, he's out of his own head. He might get shock therapy, as the kids in the rest of the troop put it. He's going to get part of his brain scooped out or whatever the fuck. That's whenever they're standing up at the top of that church and they're contemplating jumping. That's why it's not like if we can't be together, then nothing's worth. It's because like, yo, they might give me shock therapy, and I'd rather die than go through that.
Yeah. My favorite line was almost when he was in the trailer still, and the kids were coming to rescue him, and they were like, "Come on, let's go. This is an escape. We're here to save you." And he was like, "It's pointless. It's worthless without Susie." And he and then Susie, peeks her head in, and he's like. Like, oh my God, yes, I'm all right. I'm on my way. Let me put my jacket on. Let me put my hat on. And it was like, oh my God, it was so cute. And to think, like whenever he got struck by lightning, and he, I thought he was dead at first. And when he was alive, I was like, oh, thank fuck. And then my second thought was like, oh, he got his shock therapy already. No need anymore. Like maybe they didn't bring that up at the end. They're like, they tell the social service, like he got struck by lightning. Is that enough shock therapy for you or something?
Right.
And then like the little spark, up at the top, of the lighthouse of the kiss. I'm like, Susie got hers too. Like they both they both got their shock therapy, whatever. And it's just that they needed each other, and that's what makes them happy, and they're doing all right now, and
the sparks that flew between them are their shock therapy. It's the therapy they needed was each other. But man, I adored pretty much. There are all sorts of lines throughout this movie. Some more funny. Jiminy Cricket, he flew the.
I was looking through the quotes on IMDb, and it was just a nice run through of the movie, just hearing, because I don't know, I always play it in the voice of the character, and Sam and Susie, Sam talks so quick, and I don't know, he's just very
got a little bit of a lisp.
Well, yeah, it's he sticks his tongue out sometimes when he talks. I don't know, it's like a purposeful lisp almost. It feels like.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah,
they got him right through the neck. Was he a good dog? Who's to say? But he didn't deserve to die.
Who's to say? Yeah, what? And he talks kind of like just an old man. He's already like an old man.
Well, and that's one of the things that makes their relationship kind of founded in my eyes. This is exactly what every kid in a relationship whose parents tell them, you just don't get it yet, feels like. They're like, I'm pretty able to handle myself. I'm out here busting my butt, pitching a campsite. We're sleeping together in the tent. We woke up.
We're having a good time. We're reading books. We're listening to records. We're chilling. We're making our own camp.
We could live
with each other.
Forever,
we've already had an argument. We've already been through that. We've been through it. I don't know what you want. What are you talking about? So no, they're going through the motions of it's all the same thing. It's just life has bigger consequences, I guess, when you get older, but. Not really in their case, because they're literally out on their own already in nature, just surviving.
Yeah, it's if you can live like that, what's
and what maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point of making it just like Camp Scouts and having to be out in nature and survive, because where else are you going to get, kids? I guess it's really also the 60s, I guess. It's 65, so that helps. And maybe that's why he sounds like an old man to us.
Yeah, right. He literally would be an old man now.
But I don't know. I think it was a perfect way to set the story and just to have two kids be absolutely on their own completely. And it worked. They were chilling. It wasn't until Bill Murray ran in, picked the tent up, and so light that tent was, I don't know, I didn't expect it to be that light for some reason, but he just picks it up so easily and throws it, and I don't, but no,
there's a series of scenes there that's just the heart of the movie for me, because it's where I'm gonna spread the love a little bit, because my favorite line and shot come from the rose tinted scene when everything gets a little pink for the only time in the movie. The rest of the movie is these green, yellow, and blue hues. And then for one singular scene, it's a little pink, and it's the first time they tell each other, I love you. And I thought that was just an adorable little visual cue to kind of let us in on how they're feeling, and also to point out that where they are sitting is the angle of the campsite that he paints the Moonrise Kingdom later on. So it's just a little like, it's a very important moment for both of them. So my favorite shot comes from them when they're just on opposite sides of the screen. They've got the flowers in their hair and stuff, and they're just looking at each other, and it's kind of this pink hue. The campsite's in the background, adorable. But then the exchange where, Susie's like, I always wished I was an orphan. I think your guys' lives are more important. All my favorite characters are orphans. And then my favorite line is, I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And that was the first, I think, kind of hit in the heartstrings. Like, oh, okay, well, there's something here, oh, okay, that got a little real for a minute there. But no, I didn't even realize it was pink during the. I don't know. I didn't really pick up on that. That I'll definitely try to notice
where that's the case.
Yeah, that'll be really cool on second watch. Okay, because I was trying to figure it out. I saw it on the sheet, your shot, and I'm like, rose-colored lenses. I'm like, what? Is there some? So a through the church or something when they got married, and I'm like, what is what's the rose-colored?
The way I wrote it in there, the Sam and Susie rose-colored lenses is actually a relatively recent Miley Cyrus reference on her most recent album. She has a song called Rose-Colored Lenses that's just an absolute banger. But that's what the song's about. We're seeing each other through rose-colored lenses. Everything's perfect. It's all love, everything's good, and that's what that is in that moment. But then it ends with them saying, I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about. And then they push through that not an argument, but a real moment where he's like, you can't say shit like that. That's not, that's not real. That's not a thing. And immediately after, we cut to my favorite scene of the movie when they're playing the record on the beach and they start dancing. They're dancing out there, and then they start dancing together, and they start full spread apart from each other, his arms stretched all the way out, and he just goes in for the kiss. And I love this scene. It was one that the first time I watched it, I did watch this with Emily, and I don't need Emily to be my moral compass necessarily. I'm a pretty good person. But whenever we were watching House of the Dragon when it was on, she'd be like, that was pretty in poor taste. And I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, that actually wasn't it? And I cause I'm thinking it's a fantastical realm. It's Game of Thrones. It's nothing. She'd be like, that's not very cool. And I was like, oh, you know what? You're kind of fucking right. But, I was when this scene popped up, I kind of looked at her like, how you gonna feel about this? What's, and she just smiled. She thought it was cute. And I was like, good. That's how I feel about it. I'm like, cause it is awkward. It's awkward as shit. Cause they are during the time of filming, probably 13-year-old kids who are on set filming a movie.
Yeah, that was in my head. I'm like, there's no chance these kids are 18. I'm like, if they are, then holy shit, do they look young for their age? But I'm like, yeah, there's no way.
No, they weren't even close to that. And the good bit of trivia behind this movie is that this was the last scene they shot for the entire movie, so that Sam and Susie, Jared Gilman and Cara Hayward, were comfortable with each other, were at this point pretty good friends. And the only people on set, this was a closed set, it was those two, Wes Anderson, and the cameraman. So there were four people there. There was nobody else there. And
that was nice to hear. I was literally, after the movie, I'm like, okay, the one thing that I feel just a little bit weird, and the only reason why it's a little bit is because of how beautiful it was actually done. I thought, even if there is this large camera crew out there, even if it is that, I'm like, in the movie itself, though, it was actually just as it would be in real life. It was as real as it could be. But then, hearing that it is the last scene, it would be so nice to hear, like, if they just went on to get married, you know,
right?
like
This is a real life
like,
romance.
oh my God, because like, how do you not fall in love with someone like after shooting like scenes like this and like can't like because they like you did say that they were like actually kind of camping out there, probably not like to the level that he had to actually catch his own food and do all that,
right?
But,
no, and they didn't actually camp out there every night.
No,
They had
but like I don't know, they're spending time. Like it makes sense.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
by the end of the shoot, they're friends.
It was like
they're
camp,
comfortable with each other. Yeah. I don't know. That it was so genuine. And it just I don't know. It did feel so real that even if it was like the icky feeling that I had, I'm like, but it was. Like it wasn't really that icky of a feeling.
No, yeah, because like that's the thing is that it's incredibly tastefully done. It's not, there's no attempt to make it like icky. It is like I remember being 13 and having roughly this interaction. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just about.
Like I don't know. It's like you don't know what you're doing,
No.
And it's like, well, I've heard about.
Well, they just kind of like, can you French kiss? Is there any secret to it? The tongues touch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can try that.
Try it.
Yeah.
He just spits the sand, like spits immediately after. Oh, okay.
Because she like, what the fuck?
She was like, "What? Like, was it that bad?" And
yeah, right. No, but I love that scene. Just going from the dancing to the intimate little moment they have, and ultimately it like cutting to them waking up in the tent together. Like there are so many things about this, like the firsts that he experienced or they experienced all in the span of several, hours. These things took me several years separately. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But like, to experience all but I remember the first time I woke up in the same bed as the person I was in love with. And it's like, it's one of the best feelings you'll ever have in your life. It's like, God damn, is wow, I like that. This is fun.
You never want to go back,
exactly.
After that. It's like, now that's the best sleep and that's the best wake up.
100%. 100%. And like, for example, I didn't have that until, I don't know, when Emily moved in, basically. You know what I'm saying? And then, the first kiss and the first touching of the breasts or anything, like, those were just a couple of months apart for me, but like that to experience all those things at once, this kid had the best day of his life, the best 24-hour period of his life. He he did all this with the woman that he loves, the girl that he loves, for the first time, and then gets basically formally adopted at the end of the next day. What more can you ask for?
Like, I was like, if I could start my life over. And like this is how I would just want it to go. Not maybe the orphan part that is really sad, and I don't want to wish that. Because we learned straight from Sam. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about.
But I don't know. This was like just how much can you imagine like actually going on to marry this person and like telling your like just the next generation, like, how'd you meet? Oh, well, in a dressing room at first, that's where we literally first met. But then we actually just wrote back and forth to each other for quite some time, and then
that
went on.
Is adorable.
Oh, when they're going through the letters and seeing how
they're pen pals. They've been writing to each other. It's very intimate. He's a painter, and he's like, did she pose for this? That whole thing, fucking hilarious. But
burning down a doghouse.
Yeah, like Susie. Last night I set a fire while I was sleepwalking. My foster parents don't believe me, but I cut everything short and go to the other letter and cut and go back to the other letter. Like, it's brilliant formatting, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. This was, you couldn't want it to be any more perfect. I guess there were some different kids. We just got done watching Fantastic Mr. Fox, and it's okay to be different. And Sam and Susie were definitely a little different than the rest of the pack. Perfect for each other. but a little different. But that didn't, I don't know, it didn't change the weight of like their story whatsoever. It was like, I don't know, it kind of made it even more special. Like they felt more right for each other than if they were just two regular, I don't know. I don't want to call it normal because I don't know, it just feels
right.
wrong.
No, but they're
but like just, if they didn't think about that at all and just made it just two regular kid actors and just go about it how they would, I don't know. I don't think it would have actually impacted as hard.
Right.
So
like if this is Macaulay Culkin and Drew Barrymore in 1990, I don't know how I feel about it compared to this, you know.
1965. That I guess that's really gonna stick. I'll hopefully that'll stick like with me when I'm watching the second time because I guess I did hear it. You know, the narrator did say it. You know, at the beginning and
also
I love how he just comes in too. Like,
hey!
He's
like, I know where they are.
He kind of like yelled at him like the second. Like I don't know. Whenever they're all on the dock and like they were trying to like not know that he was there. You know, like is that like
there was kind some sort of weird fourth wall break there? Where,
I think is that what it was? Like it was
because
like
he also says he taught Sam cartography. So like I don't know if this guy is some sort of like all-knowing sentient god, where he knows this is a movie that he gets to narrate. But like he clearly has
credited as is he just
he's
like
just the narrator.
The narrator, yeah, okay. Huh.
He's like, Sam has a particular fascination with this. And
he does say that the storm will come in 3 days' time.
Yeah.
So he knows, he does know the future. What? And because they do kind of stop talking, they're all kind of looking like, I don't know, I think they're all just like, is someone talking? You know, is like, I think that was kind of like the idea. Like, it was kind of like, it's the narrator, so like, we're obviously not supposed to know he's here, but.
No, yeah, and I if I'm being honest, I think he's just a storytelling device. You know, I think he is a character that exists on the island, and then because there's an element to this story that's told in a, this already happened sort of perspective, where he's like, you know, this is going to happen in 3 days' time. This is on the way. But that's what's also funny is that he never narrates anything that's happening between Sam and Susie. He literally only informs us about the storm and the crop yield that came from it and everything.
Wait, didn't he actually like go and talk? Like after he gave his spiel, didn't he like give them like a hint as to?
Yeah, he told them where they would be.
Yeah, so like okay, yeah, this dude's a little more interesting than I thought. I don't know, maybe I'll I don't know, pay a little more attention to him the second time. But no, what an interesting way to tell the story. Like already mapping it like it's happened, you know, like it's history. Like this is like kind of Romeo and Juliet, you know, whenever you see that movie or, you know, you read, I don't think we ever read it in class. I don't know. I just remember watching the movie.
I think I read it once in freshman year, but
might have been
on that.
I think, okay, that might be ringing a bell.
Which Romeo and Juliet movie did you watch?
I couldn't tell you. I probably fell
well then
asleep
it's not the
most
good
of it.
one.
Because I think that was during my Hell Week in swimming, or more like Hell Month, before we, So I was.
I think the one you're thinking of might have had Orlando Bloom.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep. Okay.
That's
the best version of Romeo and Juliet is Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her name?
Yeah, I definitely didn't watch that one.
Claire Danes. And it's a modern retelling of Shakespeare. Like it's set in 1996. Everyone's dressed like it's the 1990s, but they are saying word for word the script to Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. He's like, there's like these two dudes at like a gas pump, and one of them pulls out a gun, and he's like, "Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?" And he's like, "I do bite my thumb at you, sir." Like he's like, it's really,
that is awesome. I
fucking love that movie. It's one that like for a future director's spotlight, I've wanted to talk about Baz Luhrmann because he did that. He did The Great Gatsby. He did Elvis last year. He's done a lot of great movies, and he's a controversial director in that he's just got this really campy style, which Romeo and Juliet is a peak example of. But I just wanted to mention that because that movie fucks, and I love it. So, but regardless, I did want to branch this into my question of the day. This movie kind of,
yes.
it reminded me of what it was like to be that age again and the feelings that you have when you're that age. So the question of the day is, when was your first kiss?
Well, I kind of break it up. I have like a smooch, and then I have like a first, like actual kind of real kiss. The first smooch, I think, was either 4th or 5th grade. I think it was 5th grade. Do we want to drop real names, or
I'm gonna drop first name, not last name.
Okay. Nina in 5th. I think it was 5th grade. We were probably like one of 2 couples in the elementary school at the time. So even though, I don't know, it just instantly made us popular because we were just a couple, and everyone just her friends wanted to. I don't know. It was just everyone wanted to know. And always wanted to like push us together. That's what I remember. And we were literally like, there was some, I don't know what the heck was going on this day of school, but like everyone was in the gym for some reason. But not, it was just everyone, I don't know, not anything organized, just random. Random groups of friends everywhere. No, just like, everyone's just in the gym, sitting, talking, like waiting for something, I think, to happen. It was a field day, and we were like rotating, and we were just taking a break or like a breather. But I remember I was with my friends on one side of the gym, and she was with her friends on the other. And 2 of our friends locked eyes and were like, and made the idea of like pushing us together and getting us, I don't know. So they literally grabbed us and forced us to like the middle of the gym, and everyone was like, ooh, and like, and there, I don't know. Someone was like, "Are you gonna even kiss her?" And like, I don't know. It was just a nice, simple little hug and smooch, and that was it. But it was just a simple tap, nothing.
Little peck.
It was more forced. It wasn't our own thing. So that's why I don't really count it.
But
it
gave
was
in
still
to peer pressure. Yeah.
It was still I felt that like that I was super young. I was like, I don't know, I was 4th or 5th. I was 5th grade at the time. So like, I'm how old? Like,
if we're going first smooch, little peck. I made it. There's a long gap between mine. And the first peck was like the only peck before the first real kiss. And we're talking like I was like 5.
What?
I was in preschool, and I had this girlfriend who we organized a little marriage ceremony out on the playground one day. So we had like a little playground. Her name was Hannah, and we got married that day. We had a little mwah.
You were spitting in preschool? You organized a marriage in preschool?
I guess we did. I will say, I don't remember this much. This is more a story that has been relayed to me that I now can. I remember little details. I remember Hannah. I remember being like, "Yeah, this is my girl, dog." Jason Schwartzman in this movie. Yep. This your girl? Like that was Hannah. Wow. I don't remember that specifically. But my mom tells me that story every once in a while, and it's like, it's so cute. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I don't remember that.
Wow, preschool. That's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I was worried about spelling my name in shaving cream the next day and playing with the shaving cream on the table in preschool, dude. That's all was going through my head. But man,
apparently I had a lot going on.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess if we're moving on to the first real kiss, then this would have been 7th or 8th grade, and it was not like a party, just it was like a small kind of I don't know, like 10 people was all that was kind of over someone's house one night. Savannah at the time was my girl. And at Delta Woods, we were Spirit King and Queen.
Oh shit! Okay.
I don't know. We kind of popped off. In I think 8th grade was our year. I'm pretty sure Spirit King and Queen. But like, I don't know. We were very both outgoing and just very energetic. And I don't know. It was like the first time that like it was mainly like over like Facebook and like FaceTimes and like stuff at first.
Yeah, no, I 100%.
So like that's like the first like I guess it's our like writing letters back and forth at first.
Yeah, exactly.
But then this was like kind of the first time where we were spending the night together somewhere. And like I don't know, like I knew I was going to spend the night, and I knew she was going to be there too. No parents there, you know. We're all, you know. I'm like, okay, something. I don't know. It's like something's bound to happen, right?
Right.
I don't know. We're just having a good time, and I think we had like it wasn't like a bed. I think we just set, maybe it was an air mattress actually. I think like in a basement, just like it was secluded. Like I don't know enough. And I don't know. It was just we just kind of were in our room, you know. But it was before we went to bed. We just kind of had just like a really. I don't know. We both just kind of looked at each other and we're like, all right, we're alone.
Yeah, this is the time.
We know, you know, we've been talking for such a long time, and like, yeah, and it was just a nice, just a little makeout sesh just right before we just laid down for the night and just went to bed. So I guess I kind of did have like
you had your little you had your little Sam Susie moment
couple, but it wasn't really like my own bed, you know, like in my own bed with the person I, you know, love. Yeah, that's like different. This was like an air mattress in a different house. I've never slept here before.
Right. You woke up the next morning.
I was probably on a sugar. You know, it wasn't
awfully crazy.
We weren't drinking at 8th grade. Yeah, it's like we didn't drink. We were like probably just eating a bunch of snacks and like soda. Yeah. Like I don't know. Like we were just having a blast. Probably I don't know what the heck we were doing, but I don't know. Yeah, it was just a nice like we both just kind of woke up at the same time and just went on with our lives after that. I don't know. We both just kind of had to early in the morning get back home, but yeah, that was the first real kiss, I'd say.
Yeah, I love that. Now, yeah, my first kiss was it was like a business proposition almost, not literally. We'd been together dating, whatever that means when you're 13, for like a month. You know, and it was like, when's this going to happen? You know, we were 7th grade, spring of 2013. Shit, this was over a decade ago, and that's kind of melting my mind right now.
Whoa. Oh, yeah.
God damn, that makes me... Whew, so long ago that the girl that I shared this kiss with is now married. Happily married.
Wow.
Growing up's a bitch, guys. But
we're there. We are there.
So it was with Emma, and we went to the movie theater, and we saw the most romantic movie of all time, 42, starring Chadwick Boseman and Harrison Ford.
Not that okay, a decent movie though. At least.
Oh no, yeah. No,
but yeah, not a romance movie whatsoever.
You know,
but, okay, yeah.
One I'll never forget. Chadwick Boseman and Harrison Ford were there for my first kiss. And it was, I was so nervous. I was so fucking nervous. I don't know if it was her first kiss. I can't remember at this point. I feel like it was. But there's this concept in How I Met Your Mother that's introduced sometime in season 1 where this girl, Victoria and Ted are like they're at a wedding, and they've made this agreement where like they're not gonna kiss, they're not gonna do anything because they have wedding goggles, and they're gonna have a fun night, and then they're gonna go their separate ways and everything. So what they're gonna do is a drum roll. They argue the best part of a first kiss is the moments before your lips touch, just like face to face. And that drum roll, as it were, lasted way too long. You know, like embarrassingly long. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that's what's so funny about thinking about this is that like I wish I had Sam 𝗔𝗀𝗏𝗍𝗄 game. I wish I had it like that, bro, because I was a nervous wreck. I was like, yeah, okay. And we kissed.
No way people on the first go around are already, no way. Everyone everyone had.
And I'm sure, it was a terrible kiss. I'm sure that if I could see it, if I could watch it now, I'd go, oh my God, you're doing it wrong. But I remember it, and it was at the time, that was the best moment of my life.
Yeah, that's all you know.
Like, I couldn't stop thinking about it for hours, a day, 2 days. Like I went to baseball practice. I don't know if it was that night or the next day. No, nothing could get me down. I fucked up at practice, and I was like, I don't give a fuck, man.
That's true.
I'm living good.
Oh man, you're right. Yeah, the next couple days were just the best. You were
you couldn't be brought down.
Yeah,
you were impenetrable.
Yeah,
nothing could change the way you felt.
Yeah, I don't know. Something probably happened. I'm like, I don't care. I kissed a girl yesterday. Yeah, let's go. Like I did it. Like that's all you cared about.
No,
when you were a kid. I don't know, and like being able to tell people, like,
oh yeah,
I don't know, just but like you not like want, like you want to tell everybody, but you kind of like hold it back a little bit. Like, hey, why are you so happy? Like, oh well, now that you ask, actually, last night, it's so.
I remember the baseball team I was on was like they all like gave me shit. They were like, "Oh shit, Colton got his first kiss," because like I said, it was like almost a business proposition. Like the night before, we like didn't organize it so much, but it was like that could happen tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go see a movie, and maybe think about that. Like we'll see.
Yeah.
So like.
Wow.
Yeah, no. So, but that's why I fucking adore this movie, is that it makes me feel the way I did fresh off of that, for like the day, the hours after that, where like I've since watched 42. I promise I didn't pay attention to a lick of the rest of the movie when I watched it. You know what I'm saying? I sat there with a smile on my face, just like my life's good, man. Like the
best movie of all time.
Yeah, I was like, this might be my favorite movie, man.
Wow. Well, this is a good luck movie. I should just watch this movie more often. Yep. No, but yeah, you couldn't give a care, I don't know, about the movie whatsoever probably after that. Yeah,
I don't remember the rest of that. I don't remember anything that happened before it. I don't remember anything that happened after it.
I bet, Chadwick has like he had a girl, or I don't know if they were married yet, but I don't know. They probably kissed at some point, and you probably watched, and you were like, I just
look at her like, yo, what's up?
So, but man, yeah,
the excruciatingly slow lean in, that just lasted forever. That's like, awesome. Oh no,
that's amazing. Oh,
yeah,
man.
no, and there's like a few of those, because like, and that's what's funny about like, I remember a few kisses, so only a few of them are like, oh, that was like a moment, like, oh, I remember that one. That was cool. And there was that first kiss. There's the first kiss I had with Emily. I remember that one. And there's a few others in between. But beyond that, I'm like, I don't know. I probably had a bunch of fucking kisses, but there's only a few that made me feel like, oh my God, my life's changed. Like I'm different now. This is a different life I'm living now. And that's what this movie makes you feel like.
How you take it for like, it's nothing. It's not nothing now. I don't want to it's not nothing. But
no, but in the grand
I'm
scope,
not nervous, at all whatsoever. It's like there's none of that. It's like now it's just like a very comforting, like just very nice thing to do.
Every single day I kiss Emily. Like that just happens every single fucking day now. And at one point in my life, it was life changing. And that's what's awesome about this movie, is that this was, for more reasons than the night they had together, a life-changing experience. They had a bunch of near-death experiences in between as well, which also lend to it being more memorable. But, whenever he's like at her house at the end of the movie and he's like sneaking out, and he's like, I'll see you tomorrow. And she like blows him the kiss and stuff. Like, that's, God, I love that. I love the way that feels.
Outfit, like him getting in the car, everything was just hitting right. It's like, okay, they are getting to see each other. Like, wait, he's in that outfit. Oh my God, he's getting in the car and he's picking him up like from his girl's house. I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome. But no, that ending was perfect. After almost tearing my heart apart and making me just scared for my life. I'm like, oh my God, this is not where this is going, Wes. Like, something tragic always happens in your movies, and this is not it, please. But no, it was now. Oh, I can't wait to watch this again because it will be so comforting to get there and just see all of that unravel again. And yeah, I mean, like, for sure, character and performance here, it's without a doubt Sam and Susie, but I think Susie's performance is just a little stronger than Sam's. But I don't know, they're pretty close. Like, I don't think it's actually that far off.
No, not by any, like, they are 1A, 1B, like, I think they're kind of interchangeable in my character and performance slot.
Yeah,
I did the same thing. I went with Sam character, Susie performance. And the part that, like, made me go, oh, I'm going to pick Susie for my performance is after they've been swooped up off of the shore and they're on the boat and Bill Murray's like, I hope you're never going to see that boy again. And she's like, you better be careful. You never know what someone's capable of. And he's like, is that a threat? And she's like, it's a warning. I was like, yo, Kara Hayward's going down for the performance right here, bro. That was hard. She was so good, man. And again, in a movie with Bill Murray, Frances McDormand. Like, Frances McDormand is considered one of the greatest actresses of all time. You know what I'm saying? In a movie with her in it, with Bill Murray, with Ed Norton, with Bruce Willis, with Tilda Swinton, with Jason Schwartzman, for my favorite character and performance to be the two main kids, it's an astonishing feat, not just by them, but by the directorial team. Like, these are kids who, I mean, like, I don't know how much work they had prior to this, and all of a sudden they're in one of my favorite movies of all time. And, part of that has to be direction. That I'm sure these kids are incredibly gifted on their own, but you gotta be put there, you gotta be put in that situation. During the commentary, actually, it was funny. This was Jared Gilman's first role.
Second from Susie, but Gigi Boy. It was a short.
So first feature film role. She was in a 7-minute.
Okay. Yeah, 7-minute. A 19-year-old girl juggles her 2 boyfriends and DUI school. In a breathalyzer. But okay, wow. Interesting short off. I don't know, but no, first real performance. Yeah, that's insane. That, like, out of that cast, I don't know. That's the only thing I knew, like, going in. I'm like, I just want to see who's in this movie, and it was laid out at the beginning, anyways. With, like, the opening credits of this one. Yeah, was so nice. And I'm like, okay, wow, this is absolutely stacked to the brim. But yeah, no, I there's no way I'm not going with both of them for character and performance. And the only reason I put Sam as character is probably just because I want to be that nature guy. I want to have his skill set. And I don't know whatever he's capable of.
Right.
but yeah,
I think that there's a journey that Sam goes on that's just the slightest bit more compelling than Susie's. He's got more going on. I know that she's got a rough relationship with her parents. She found the How to Deal with a Troubled Teenager book and stuff, and her mom's cheating on her dad, and she's well aware of it and all this. She's got a lot of drama going on, but it's not to the levels of being an orphan who's about to be sent away and get electroshock therapy and, like that's a different breed. That's a different animal right there. And for Sam to overcome all that and be so steadfast and strong in the face of it, incredible. There was one of my favorite scenes that was very close to getting it was pretty much the entire time spent with Jason Schwartzman over at their camp.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. Is this the guy? Yeah, I'm Sam 𝗔𝗍𝗄𝗏, Troop 55. He's hot, too hot. I don't know what I could do for him here. You got your seamanship badge? He's like, yes, I do. He's like, good. I think I might get you off. I might be able to get you off on the boat, and we might be able to find you some work. Better than electroshock therapy. And he's like, it's cool, but can I take my wife? And he's like, wait a fucking minute, what's going on here? He's like, you as lady, you as girl.
got licenses? Like that. Or wait, no, I guess they said, yeah. He's like, I deal with something in marriages.
He was like, I can solidify births, divorces, something else, and marriages. And he's like, do you have licenses? And they're like, no. And then like the way it cuts to him sliding down the pole, and he's like, all right, well, I don't think this is going to hold up in any sort of court, given that you are not of age, you do not have licenses, nor do you have parental consent. However, the ceremony itself carries a large, moral weight within yourselves, and I want you guys to consider what you're doing before you do it, because I'll go ahead and marry you. Might not hold up in court, but it can still mean something. Which this is the guy I want to be. Like in this movie, I'm like, I want to support these kids. I want to get this kid where he wants to go, and even like to the lengths he goes whenever they finish the marriage ceremony. He decides to give them the $76 back. I'm worried about their future. Can they have the $76? And he's like, no, that's my fee.
And they're like, I'm keeping it. It's my fee.
He like looks over at his friend. He's like, what do you think? He's like, I just said I'm keeping it. This is no debate. And dude, I love that whole thing. But then we get like this classic slow motion Wes Anderson needle drop where they walk out of the ceremony, and she like kisses his hand, and they walk all the way to the boat, and it's all slow motion.
Yeah.
And then they take off and turn right back around, and then like it's like all this momentum they'd created from this slow motion badass sequence where it's like, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to get away. And they just like immediately turn around and come back. Outstanding. Like an exquisitely well done comedic and heartwarming sequence all rolled up in one. And that's hard to pull off. And basically the entire time spent there, we haven't even mentioned the fact that 𝙈𝙊𝙊𝙉𝙀𝙀, a pretty legendary actor, is the camp counselor for the other camp. Just shows up, and it's when he like pulls off the rag. I remember watching this for the first time, like, is that fucking 𝙈𝙊𝙊𝙀𝙀?
Yeah. And then Ed Norton having to save him, going and having
badass,
after, and like coming out with them, and like, oh, now we're gonna make a run for it, and like, I don't know, it was like, all right, now
he gets his redeeming moment.
We didn't know if this guy only talked the talk, or if but no, he could walk. He was the only one who did something during that time. Everyone else was frozen. Well, I guess he did.
He turns around, he puts his hands up, stay calm.
Yeah, I guess he did tell everyone to stay put,
But everyone did freeze.
Yeah, everyone was frozen. Yeah, he was the only one that was going to do anything.
Well, and it was like protocol, like whenever someone is like choking and you need to do the Heimlich, you don't go, somebody call 911. You point to someone and go, you call 911. Like you direct that, because if you say someone, everyone will go, oh, someone else is going to do it, right? So he's like, stay put. I love the protocol throughout this movie, at the beginning, whenever Bruce Willis calls the Billingsleys and is like informing them of Sam having run away, and he's like, I'm calling you to inform you this is protocol. You say you can't take him back? You say that you can't invite him back? What is this? This is protocol, and whenever Susie catches the fish and Sam yells out the thing he would yell whenever everybody's around but nobody else is around, he goes, fish on hook. That's something you yell when there's a bunch of people around, not one other person, I just thought that was so cute. Everything that's so camp oriented was adorable. I love that sort of shit.
No, I don't know. I never really didn't like Boy Scouts or anything like that. I just never got into that sort of thing as a kid.
Yeah, neither.
But man, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I gave him a little bad rap at or just
I was
as a kid.
My time was taken up with sports typically, and that was kind of the thing. It was mostly either or at the time when you're that young. And there are other options, of course. It was just that for me, it was like, you're going to do something. What are you going to do? And my options were sports or scouts. I was like, I'll play baseball. Thank you.
They actually offer that? They asked you if you wanted
to?
At
some point, because I was perfectly contented doing nothing. I was like, I'll do jack shit. That'd be fine with me. My 7-year-old ass was like, man, I'll just sit around and do nothing. That'd be cool. And my mom was like, nah, you're going to need to You're going to need to do something. I'm not going to make you play football or anything like that, but you ought to give something a shot. And I was like, yeah, fine, I'll play baseball. And thankful for that, thankful for the proposition my mom put onto me, because I played baseball until I was 18. And I was probably 4 or 5 at that time when I started playing. But in retrospect, there's a lot of things that I'd like to, if I could have gotten piano lessons when I was younger. My parents always wanted me to learn an instrument, and I was like, nah, I'm good playing sports. Now I'm like, fuck, I'd have dropped that in an instant to play an instrument. You kidding me?
Know how to if I could just go on a piano, that would be so satisfying. I've always wanted to learn a violin too. I feel like it's so elegant. It's a very elegant instrument. Yeah, it's like instruments are when you think about them too, are just kind of nuts. I don't know, we just kind of make these things and they make.
I rub this string against this string and it make pretty noise if I hold my hands in different positions.
I'll press these keys at the same time and it's beautiful, but if I'm one off, you instantly know it's wrong, and it's like, how does that work? Why are some things good? But whatever.
Brilliant.
But man, no, that's what this movie just kind of unlocks. I don't know, it got me to think of my childhood and got me to think of, my first kiss, all these first moments, all, just the young firsts of everything. And then also man, I wish I kind of did some stuff like this when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is that I think one of the points they're trying to make with this movie is that you should stay connected to that childlike center, I think that's a point they're trying to make with Ed Norton. I think that he specifically is supposed to be reminded that he's supposed to have fun with this. It's not supposed to be a job. At the beginning, whenever he's like, I'm going to change my answer. This is my job. I do math. I'm a math teacher on the side. No, this shouldn't be your job, man. I know it's important and it's safety and it's protocol, but you're supposed to be having fun out here. That's the point of it. And I think another point they're trying to make here is that it's never too late to give things like this a shot. If you want to learn how to pitch a perfect campsite, get a commendable in the scouts or whatever the fuck, you can do that. You just gotta teach yourself now instead of having someone show you the ropes. But
I don't know. That's the one of the main reasons I've wanted to always become just not eat meat, just be able to become vegan or vegan or vegetarian. It's just it's so easy just to go out and find food that you can just pick with your hands. I don't know. No one else can really do that.
Fucking love going to a farmer's market and being I'm gonna grab all these veggies. I've been getting I've been just going, because I'm not a vegan, I'm a vegetarian. So I'm butter, eggs, anything with milk, cheese, all that shit. Still on the table for me. That leap is excruciatingly difficult one to make.
Would be hard.
I've just been, grabbing some peppers, some mushrooms, some tomatoes.
I wish.
Chopping them up, throwing them in a pan, throwing some vegetable oil on there, seasoning the shit out of them, just eating that. And I'm like, God damn, this shit is yummy. I'm like, and it feels good. It feels good to do something like that.
Yeah, you look, I don't know, you look at animals that their teeth are meant to eat meat. Our teeth don't look like that. Our teeth look more like the herbivore. We are meant to I don't know. I feel it's kind of we take it as humans just eat meat. That's just how it is. But honestly, it might be more weird that
right.
Our bodies actually don't break it down easily at all. It's
no. If I were to eat meat, I haven't eaten meat in over 4 years. I'd get horribly sick.
Yeah. I don't have a gallbladder anymore. I just can't eat steaks without feeling absolutely terrible afterwards.
Right.
And I don't know, my digestive system just all sorts of fucked. But it's I don't know. It's really weird to think about that it's second nature that people just think humans eat meat, but it's actually you're just used to it. Your body has just gotten used to it.
Right. Well, and there is something to the idea if you are hunting out of necessity, fuck yeah, do your thing, do your thing at that point. I don't if you have to hunt to eat your food, okay. You know, like, sure,
Fair.
do your thing. If you're trophy hunting, fuck you. I think that's really dumb. I have my beefs with that. But like, you know, you can go to the store and just get some fucking meat, you know? And I know it's like, that's why I don't have like a moral issue with eating meat or preparing meat or anything. You know, like I work at a pizza place. I have to work with meat all the time. I went over to a place just a couple weeks ago. I went to Emily's coworker's house, and he like opened his freezer and it was just full to the brim with steaks and these ribeyes and T-cuts and shit. And I was like, oh shit, dope. And his wife knew that I was a vegetarian. I was like, oh baby, no. And I was like, I'm not an absolute pussy. I've seen meat. I'm not like gonna like vomit at the sight of it, guys. Yeah. It's okay.
You know, yeah. It's like
I'm not.
You're obviously aware that it
on
exists.
Me. And like after that, every single time he brought up something with me, he'd look at me and he'd say sorry, and I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. It is okay that you eat meat. That is not the kind of vegetarian that I am. I don't have a moral qualm with you eating meat. I made a choice. It's not like I'm like, oh,
you obviously know that it exists because you actively make the choice to not eat it, you know, so like,
I'm like, dude, it's all good, bro. Like, it is okay. You do not have to worry about it. And it's a hilarious conversation that I have all the time. Just all the time. Wow. Someone will be like, oh, do you want this? And I'm like, oh no, I'm a vegetarian. Oh, sorry. I'm like, bro, you ain't got shit to be sorry about. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you just didn't know. Like, it's, you know.
Yeah, no, it's not. I had to inform you. I wasn't going to force myself to eat the thing you offered me just because you offered it to me.
Like, oh damn, well now I can't be a vegetarian anymore. Gotta break it here. Man, it was a good run while it lasted.
This is it. Emily's coworker offered me some meat. It's all over for me.
Yeah.
But regardless, like I only brought it there because Sam does do a little, they do the fishing. He preps the fish and everything, you know, it's you know, you got to do what you got to do when you're living in the wild. You know, it's you do need that sustenance.
You didn't have any, I don't know, food packs out there. I don't know, they didn't have any just
no ration packs.
They didn't have a store. Nothing.
They did have all that kitty food.
I guess you had a little jerky.
Yeah, did bring some jerky.
Maybe not a whole lot, but yeah.
Enough.
It was probably also like a little just way to impress her. Be like, hey, let me
check this shit out.
Watch this. Or I guess she caught the fish.
Yeah, she did catch the fish.
She caught
but he got to prepare it.
That's true.
And she was like, wow, this is good. You're really good at all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, it's what I trained for.
Yeah, it's just kind of what I do. I don't know. It's kind of why I brought you out here, to show you
Troop
how much
555 resigned. I love that.
I don't even need that anymore. Yep.
He wrote a letter of resignation. I'm sure the troop mates will be happy to hear that I'm gone. This poor little kid, man. Like that part whenever it is that rose-colored tinted sort of thing, he already decided to run away before he knew that his foster parents weren't going to invite him back. So he has this conversation with her where he goes like, I think we're finally finding some common footing. I finally feel like I'm kind of part of a family, you know, and not exactly like yours, but you know, it's something. And then they come by the next morning, show him the letter, and he's like, oh well shit, my life's it's not as good as I thought. Feels like he's being abandoned and everything. And again, tries to run off with Susie, you know, like that's at some point the only person he feels like he has is Susie, which is why nothing matters without her. And I think it's a very, very well written story to make it that believable, feasible, and really feel like the only option, you know, like, there's a chance that something else is going to happen, but, you know, on the table are he runs away with Susie or he goes to this juvenile center and possibly gets shock therapy. And those are the stakes, you know. You're like, God damn, man. Yeah, I guess run away, man.
I wonder what Wes had any if he like made like I guess was this actually a book or because it was like open like I don't know.
This was not based off a book. This is
so just another way that he's
written. Yeah,
telling it. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if he like had his first experience or like if he was like a Cub Scout, or like I don't know, or if he made this all up.
They went into something a little bit with the commentary where he wanted to tell a story about young love and sort of this running away sort of story, and he happened upon the route of going like, oh, scouts, they're going to run away into the woods. Like that wasn't the launching off point for the story. The launching off point for the story was a love story between two young characters and like trying to branch it out from there. But he actually had an experience that was similar to Susie's more so than Sam's. He found a pamphlet that was like how to deal with a troubled teenager when he was younger, and it made him feel alienated from his family to a degree. And he was like, I didn't run away or anything, but I did end up talking to my mom and my dad about it, and that was, it was a important moment to me. Like obviously I made a movie about it, basically, like that's
man, yeah, dang.
Incredibly personal. Wow. But
I guess the only thing I haven't said was my line, and it comes from Susie, and I think it's when she's in the bathtub. But she just says, "We're in love. We just want to be together. What's wrong with that?"
Yeah.
And I think it's like I don't know. It was just boils it down, like just in general in real life too. Like two people love each other and they want to be together. All right. That there's nothing
not much we can do about it after that, man. That's that.
That's I don't know, and that's the weird thing is that it just I don't know. There's not many things I don't know. I'm very interested in science and I like to figure a lot of stuff out. I don't try to figure love out.
No,
there's no way to. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a force I cannot.
Love TARS.
Tamper with, yeah. It's love TARS. That's what I don't know. That's it. I don't know. Whenever in Brand,
it's not on the elemental chart. It never landed.
Yeah, and then like, it's amazing the roles he plays because he can go from that, like serious, like making me think of like love and like how Brant explains it as like I just don't understand it, but I'm drawn across the universe to someone I haven't seen.
That's got to be a real thing. Yeah,
it's like and like and then
it's Fugazi, it's Fugazi, it's a Wazi, it's a Woozy.
Yeah, but no,
Matthew McConaughey. For those who are unfamiliar with what we're talking about, we've talked a lot of the love TARS and it's not real. It never landed. It's not on the elemental chart. Those are a couple of our long running.
God, what a
jokes.
Line! What a line!
Oh, yeah. Classic. But yeah, no, that's what this movie's all about, man. It's about that love TARS. This indescribable feeling that you can't shake no matter what. Like once you feel it, you feel it. You're like, oh shit, that's different. My God, I like the way that feels.
Mm-hmm.
Just
no, I don't
different.
know why, but it's I don't understand it fully whatsoever, but it just is.
But it works.
It just works.
It just works. Yeah, man. Sam and Susie, all-time movie pairing right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely adore them. And Moonrise Kingdom rating is the first one I am confidently willing to give a 10 out of 10 enjoyment.
Thank you. I almost just put it in there before we even started in the sheet for enjoyment because I'm like, I'll what's Sumai? I'll invoke Sumai if not, because I'm giving this one a 10 for, especially because like I said this about Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I'm like I can't wait to go revisit that movie and watch that again. This one will probably be the first one that I rewatch because I want to watch it comfortably now,
right?
And not scared for scared for their lives, and see it as a full comfort movie. And I can't wait for that. But yeah, definitely, it's already a 10. Even with the heart racing, and all of that with it.
No, man, it's a fucking great one. And if I guess this is it probably is only on the Criterion Collection Blu-ray, because I think it was a audio commentary specifically for that. But it was hosted by what's his name? I think it's Jake Ryan. Let me see. Yeah, Jake Ryan. He played Lionel, the eldest younger brother to Susie.
Okay.
And it's recorded, like, this commentary was recorded years after the fact. Like, they are looking back on Moonrise Kingdom. It's not like they were fresh off of making it. They were like, oh shit, they're making this Blu-ray. Let's go ahead and do this commentary now. So it's hosted by Jake Ryan a few years down the road, the kid who plays the one who goes, "You're a traitor to this family," and like, that's the kid who hosted the fucking commentary.
The record player who donated the
Where's
record player.
my record player? Yeah, no, that kid. But it's funny because he's there with Wes Anderson, and they're just like, "Let's call Ed," and they like ring him up, and Ed Norton answers the phone. He's like, "Hello." And he's like, "Hey, Ned, it's Lionel from Moonrise Kingdom." And he goes, "Yeah." he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" Completely, it sounded like he was not prepared at all that he was going to be on an audio commentary. And it's hilarious how candid it was. They call Bill Murray up, and he's like, it's hilarious. Bill Murray's mind. He looks at this movie and the ending, and he thinks that final shot where like Bruce Willis is holding both of them hanging from the tower. He comments on how hilarious he thinks that shot is. Thinks it's so fucking funny, which it is. It is a little funny because they're so perfectly still and it's so picturesque and stuff. Like it is. It's a little comedic after you look at it that way.
Yeah.
And they like Wes. You could tell Wes was like, "I was not going for funny, man. That's not something I was trying to evoke out of you."
Yeah.
No, it's just so funny.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see it as funny the first time because I was catching my breath, I guess.
Yeah, like now, whenever Bruce Willis goes, "Don't let go," like my eyes are like welling up with tears now. Yeah. Like that's where I'm at with that. And even after hearing that, it's still the case. I was just like, wow, that's Bill Murray's mind. What a funny head to live in.
Yeah. I don't know. Shot, I had one that was just like a really satisfying shot, and it was just Susie was at the top of a different lighthouse, and her outfit just matched it very well,
perfectly.
The color pink, palette. I guess, pink shot.
Oh yeah,
kind of pink-ish, but
not
that colored, not through the lens though. That you're talking about. I'm really wanting to see that. I want to remember that on second watch, but she was just looking through her binoculars. Down watching, I think it was Captain Sharp at the time.
Yeah, Sharp and her mom.
And I don't know, it was just a really satisfying, just Wes Anderson shot, just perfectly symmetrical, very center frame.
It's my superpower.
Yeah, and
that's like poetry.
Yeah,
poetry doesn't have to rhyme. It just has to be creative.
He always just has these old wise. Why? It just like
sounds like poetry.
Things, yeah,
he's almost got like a transatlantic accent. He's like it sounds a bit like poetry. I see. It's something great there. You got something, kid. You ought to run with it. A brilliant mind.
That's why it's like not a lisp, but kind of a lisp. It's more of like an accent, it's like his own accent.
He's got a little bit of a transatlantic thing going on.
Yeah.
He just kind of tones it down and he sounds a bit like a kid instead. So it becomes this. It becomes a little bit more of this. He's got this thing going on.
With a little, sometimes, just sticking the tongue out in between a word to make, I don't know, just it was just perfect. It was just to have their own personalities,
Yeah, like, that reminds me of another thing that was on the commentary. Like, they were asking about like the casting process and how they landed on them, and apparently Sam and Susie, it took forever to land on the kids. They were like, "Yep, this is them," and it wasn't even Jared Gilman's audition that made them go, "Yeah, that's Sam." It was literally just the way he was that made them go, "Yeah, that's Sam." Apparently he's like, he is acting, but he's not doing a whole lot. Like he's basically just being who he was, with a few extra quirks And he's like, Wes was like, yeah, I just, like, as soon as I saw the kid, I was like, yep, that's him.
You know,
that's Sam.
Susie's 7-minute short might actually make a little more sense. You know, just being like two boyfriends and like like she was blown in a breathalyzer. Like maybe she was just already like a troubled teen. You know, like she just.
What's blowing my
role
mind is
there,
what
like,
world are you trying to convince me that this 13-year-old girl is 19? What the fuck?
Yeah, what? Or
is she supposed to be the 19-year-old in that short? That's where I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess we have. I don't know. I'll have to check
that
out.
That was one of my thoughts the first time I watched this, was that I did think that she looked substantially older than Sam. Not by like a lot, but by like a couple years at least. Like he looks like a 12-year-old and she looks probably 13 or 14, you know? But they're separated by a couple months. They're the same age, you know? And I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, man, I just there's a few questions throughout it where Jake Ryan, the kid hosting it who plays Lionel, he asks Wes Anderson, he's like, why did you cast me as Lionel? Like, why'd you do that? And he goes, I don't really have an answer for you, Jake. I just kind of did it, you know? It's like, didn't have a whole lot of reason there.
They're the same age as us. They were, at least Susie, you said they were only like a month separated. They were 12 years old during the filming of this. And if it did come out in 2012, I mean, that would put her born in like 2000, which, I don't know. That's just really weird to think that, like, at 12, like, I'm thinking of me at 12 trying to do this in a movie. Like, that's, I don't know. They're
both a year and some change older than us.
That's insane.
They were. She was born in November.
98. Okay.
November of 98, and he was December of 98. So they are less than a month apart.
I guess it came out in 2012. Maybe the filming
could have happened a year and a half earlier. You know,
like that. Okay, maybe that's where that's coming up, because Google just said 12, and I just took it as fact. Should be a little more careful on that, but
yeah, no, they filmed when it came out. They were 13 and a half, closer to 14. But yeah, this was there's some interesting trivia about this movie too. You know, the Cannes Film Festival was very recent. This was the first film shown at the 2012 Cannes. It was this is how they kicked it off. They were like, "Yo, let's get shit rolling in a good way." Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I will visit this movie frequently. Another very easy watch too. Hour
and a half.
Yeah.
This run of 3 in a row with 𝙈𝙊𝙊𝙉, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Moonrise Kingdom, where the combined runtime is like 4.5 hours across 3 movies. Fuck yeah.
That's Zack Snyder's Justice League right there.
Yeah,
you know, almost.
Just 1 4-hour movie versus watching all 3 of those.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll do that any day.
Granted, I would love a 4-hour Wes Anderson movie.
If I'm ever in the business to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League again, I now will always think like, wow, I could actually watch these 3 movies instead and have a way better time. So I don't know if I'll ever watch Zack Snyder's Justice League again. I'll have to, probably for the comic book project will be the only time.
Well, it's just such a difficult movie to commit to for that reason. You know, like
yeah, it is a time commitment.
It's a giant chunk of your day.
Yeah. But this is a nice snack that I could watch every day. Very easy. And I definitely will. I don't know. I think tonight will be that Leonardo DiCaprio and
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I think, because I don't know. I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for some love movies now, and that one seems really cool. Just love movie and really cool concept to it.
Great fucking concept. I can't recommend that one enough. And I mean, like, it received extremely mixed reception. People are like, "Wow, this is extremely fucking."
Yeah, I see.
Hard to
it's
watch.
Either 5s or 1s is what it's, hate bombing.
No, I adore that movie, man. I fucking love it.
But this one will probably come on quickly after, I'd say. If I don't just run it back.
Right.
Because, oh man, I can't wait to watch this movie again. And then, like, see all the layers that you're talking about. And, like, actually, like, pick up, like, I don't know. I didn't really pick up on a lot of these things, like, whatsoever. Like, the rose, the lens, that's going to be super cool. Looking at, you know, Frances McDormand and Bill Murray's relationship a little closer, and seeing it, like, because the black eyes didn't hit me until that, like, on the bed, like, whenever, like, they were, like, she's apologizing for them, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. I'm like, I actually thought that
earlier in the movie, whenever she's like, he went searching in the dark last night, and he's like, yeah, she stole the batteries out of my flashlight.
Yeah, and I was like, I felt like an idiot. I'm like, how did I not pick up on that at first? But now, like, going back and knowing that from the very start will be, and like, I don't know, this second watch is going to be so cool. And it's my most I'm most excited to revisit this one out of any of the Wes movies we've covered so far. And I think,
and like I said, you know, like, this was, I've watched it 4 times this year now, and 4 times ever. And upon watching, like, Darjeeling Limited and The Life Aquatic and Fantastic Mr. Fox, I started to question. I was like, oh man, did I just have, like, a really good first watch with Moonrise Kingdom? Will it fall down the list a little bit? And then I rewatched and I was like, no, it actually rose even higher on my favorite movies ever list. Like, it was just outside the top 10. It's not anymore. I fucking adore this movie. You know, I was like, all right, yeah, this is, it doesn't get more enjoyable, I don't think, as far as, like, the heartwarming feeling that you'll get. There is an argument to be had for critical, you know, as far as what's a better movie, because the one we've got coming Friday, the Grand Budapest Hotel, is a marvel in terms of visuals and storytelling. One of those ones that sneaks up on you again, where you'll get to the end and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, wow, I didn't realize that I felt this way. At least that's how it was for me. And that one's exquisitely well done. But even so, this was a visually brilliant movie. The color palette was immaculate. That sort of, like, maize corn aesthetic they had going on, the yellows and the greens and all that. And it looked like a nature magazine, you know? There's a lot of, like, landscape shots where it's like, oh yeah, that's straight out of a National Geographic for the, I don't know, Missouri State National Parks. You know, like, you remember those magazines that you always saw and you're like, I don't want to read that shit.
Maybe I'll take another look at those now, you know.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll actually just go out and actually see it for real. But yeah, no, I do agree that it was very pleasing to the eye, as well as just pleasing to watch the whole time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where I land critically. Like, I don't know how to really, on first watch at least, like, I usually have, like, a gut number that calls out to me, but I don't know.
The absolute floor is 9.
Okay, then cool. Because I didn't want to feel like I was too high on it, because I was looking back and I'm like, man, 8 was like, okay, that just is already seeming too low. But then I'm like, how high in the 9s is it?
And I think I think a good comparison is the Darjeeling Limited. That's another one that was also written by Wes Anderson and Roman Coppola. It also had Jason Schwartzman on the writing staff for Darjeeling Limited. It's another 1.5-hour live action film with a very satisfying, tight story. And that story, I'd argue, is probably even tighter, simply because there's not as many characters it wants to focus on. But the fact that this is every bit as satisfying as Darjeeling Limited and has 6 characters at least that have interesting and compelling stories instead of half that in 3 is that's a feat in and of itself. And for the most compelling thing to be from a couple of 12-year-olds instead of Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, and Jason Schwartzman is another feat you're just like, oh, wow. So then I start getting into the Fantastic Mr. Fox numbers, 925. And where I think this excels in terms of storytelling and the writing of it. Fantastic Mr. Fox, again, brilliantly written as well. The craft of it is where you start to go, well, wait. Can I confidently put this higher than Fantastic Mr. Fox from the perspective of a critical rating?
That doesn't sit right, I guess.
Can't elevate it to a 9.5 then.
Yeah, that there is some hesitation there, but on the same level, feels right. You know, I don't know.
It excels in different places where Fantastic Mr. Fox doesn't, but there's something about what they achieved with that movie that's just like, oh man, I don't even know how you managed that, you know?
Yeah, no, I that's perfect. That's a perfect way to describe both of those movies. Is I didn't think that like a stop motion claymation movie could look that good and like could actually be that good. Now looking at this movie, I did not think that two 12-year-old actors could make me feel the way that I did while watching. So like, yeah, it is a movie that just broke my expectations completely. So yeah, no, I like that, and it rounds it out to be a 9.75.
98%
overall. So yeah, pretty close, as close to perfect as you can get.
Yep, and on IMDb, which has notoriously been far meaner than we are, 7.8, and on Rotten Tomatoes, a 93% critic score, 86% audience score. So very well received.
Yeah,
and with at a 98 for us, I feel pretty good about that. That is more than certified fresh.
Very. Oh, this will be up very, very high on my top 10. I'm very high on it right now.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah. Then with that, I think we'll conclude this episode of the Director's Spotlight. Putting it on Wes Anderson there. This was this is a brilliant one. It's a one that I will never ever let go of now that I've seen it. This is one that's going to be like, oh well, I need to feel a little bit better. I'm gonna throw on Moonrise Kingdom. You know, that's a good fucking movie. So with that, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. We will continue this director spotlight on Friday with the Grand Budapest Hotel, a great run that we're on right now. Nothing but bangers. We will continue it next week with Isle of Dogs and the French Dispatch, and we will turn the clock back the week after that with Rushmore and then Bottle Rocket, where we're going to be doing Bottle Rocket and Asteroid City back to back. You know, a little satisfying doing Wes's first feature film and his most recent feature film on Friday and then the Wednesday after that. So I'm very excited for that. And whenever we get to Bottle Rocket, I'm going to go ahead and announce officially what the next director is. You know, that's there's folks in our tight circle who are aware. I've let people know, you know, all you really need to do is ask. Someone asked and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, man, I'll let you know. So there's a few people who know, a few people who are invited as to what our next director is. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So after Wes Anderson, we got plans, baby. We got plans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, if you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of written content. I've been writing a lot lately, and it's been a lot of fun. Head there if you want to support us financially. For $3 a month, you can support this podcast, and it means a lot to me because it costs me money, and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening. And I forgot to say it last Friday. It was our first episode of June, but happy Pride Month, everybody. You know, all of our LGBTQs, I's and A's. Love y'all, and happy you're here. So thank you so much for listening. And with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And Jiminy Cricket, he flew the coop.